Welcome, y'all. Henry here. Just letting you know we'll be with you in a few moments. Hang tight.
Hey, what's up, friends and family? Probably not family. I don't think anyone from my family has ever watched this stream, and that's good for them. This is Wisecrack Live. It's our weekly stream that we do here at Wisecrack, hosted by me, Michael Burns. I'm joined by producer Henry, as always, and most importantly, we're joined by a really great group of folks in the chat. So glad that you're here. Glad to see everyone going. Glad to see a lot of green usernames in the chat already. We love, 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 love to see it. A lot of stuff to talk about today. We're going to be pretty media focused today. TV stuff is getting bad and weird, and they're taking shows off of HBO Max and other places. And I think that it's important to talk about because it's not just going to be an HBO Max thing. We have a little bit of an issue in general in the whole content factor. What's up, Obara? Chris, thank you for being here for the first time. We appreciate it. We appreciate you coming out. What's up, Anderson? What's up, Sean? What's up, Kevin? What's up, Nelson? What's up, Chris? Air Dem? Glad to have you here. Oh shit, Mellow Jello started out hot with 5 gifted memberships. Lord of the Chat signed in. If you're wondering what the membership thing is, it's when you get to be a member of this channel, of this chat, of this community. You get emotes, you get special access, you get your chats going right to the top. It's very fun. So very cool. Thank you for doing that. So we're going to talk about that today. We'll talk about James Gunn in DC a little bit. I see that Christopher Maverick PhD is in the chat. I'll be curious what his thoughts are on that. What's up, Amanda? What's up, Blue? And then we got some trailers. I love new trailers. Spider-Man Across Spider-Verse got our first trailer. That's pretty exciting. Also, I'm shockingly excited about this. I didn't think I would be. The Scream 6 trailer looks kind of fun. What's up, she said. And then, everyone's asking about one thing. Are we going to go into the Harris hole this week? No, we have a new Johnny Harris video. It would just seem a little absurd to do 2 in a row, but maybe at the very end we could look into it. What's up, Dave? What's up, Matthew? What's up, Ian? Glad to have everyone here. So what's going on in the channel this week? We got to do our normal Wisecrack update. The video that came out Monday with Legal Eagle. How fun is that, right? Looking at God's Not Dead 3. Oh, what's up, Jimmy Nails? If you have only seen the video on our channel, be sure to go over to the Legal Eagle channel and check out part 2 of that video. We filmed them both together, but split it up into 2 videos. So, yeah, we were excited to finally get that out. One thing that I think was kind of surprising is that, there's thousands of comments on the God's Not Dead 3 video that we have. And most of them are about hot dog toppings. I did not realize that this would be the most contentious thing ever. But yeah, when filming the video, there's a scene in the God's Not Dead movie where, I'm tempted to even show this on stream, but I probably shouldn't. I won't. It's masturbatory. It'd be masturbatory if I showed a clip from a Wisecrack video on stream. What's up, Paul? Rachel, thank you. So glad that you liked it. So when we were watching the Gods Not Dead 3 movie, there's the cool social justice lawyer played by a guy who was also in the Sex and the City show. And he's supposed to be a cool social justice lawyer from Chicago. And they go to Chicago and they're eating hot dogs and they're just having these hot dogs slathered in just straight ketchup, nothing else. So I made a comment that seemed pretty inappropriate. Ooh, Vox is on grading week. Oh no, good luck. So, I just commented that in Chicago you wouldn't put, ketchup on a hot dog like that. Devin from Legal Eagle disagreed. He loves ketchup on hot dogs. We had a little disagreement. We used that clip at the beginning of the video. If you look at the comments for the God's Not Dead 3 video, what's up, Quentin? Thank you so much for joining. Thornback points out that masturbation is healthy in moderation. There you go. But all the comments in the video are people debating about toppings on hot dogs, things of that nature. So I am curious before we get going, what do we eat on our hot dogs? Okay, I'm just gonna say it. Oh my God, Anthony, thank you so much. Jimmy Nails agrees. What do we eat on our hot dogs? So I'm curious. My personal preference would be if I'm going one topping only, brown mustard, like a spicy mustard. That's gonna be my one topping only. I do truly think, and I'm not just saying this in some homer way, I think the proper toppings on a Chicago hot dog are really good. I think it makes for a really nice overall eating experience. I like the relish. I like onions. I like sport peppers. I like the celery salt. I like all of it. I truly don't like just ketchup on a hot dog. Producer Henry, what if you're someone who ever eats hot dogs? What would your ideal toppings be? And speak freely. Don't feel like you have to say anything.
Mustard and relish.
Oh, that's great. That's if you're gonna go 2, those are the 2.
Yeah,
Paul
I'd like
agrees with you.
a nice chunky relish with just a light enough mustard spread over the whole thing. It's the perfect combo.
Yeah. Oh, Cyber Arc is in the chat. Says from Chicago. I put ketchup on it, and I always get harassed for it. Now, to be clear, do what you want in life, everyone. Do what you want in life. I just happen to think someone said hummus. That's interesting. Cheese and bacon for John. Wow, there we go. Ooh, we have a poll. One topping and one topping only. That's tough, but I know what I'm saying. I'm voting right now. Okay. Chili cheese dogs from Dude Abides. But Dude Abides, not to dox you, but I'll only dox your state. In Michigan, I feel like the Coney dog is a big thing with chili on it. Um, so there you go. We've talked about hot dogs. I'm very curious to see how this vote pans out. But truly, if you would have asked me, we're doing a video that's about Christianity, about politics, about religion, about science. What are the comments going to be full of? I did not have it as a war about hot dog toppings. So that was pretty fun. Someone said peanut butter. I don't know if there's any LA people here, but a very traditional type of LA street dog, which I think is also something that's common in like Mexico or certain Central American countries. It's like the bacon wrapped hot dog that has like jalapeno and stuff on it as well. It's pretty good. It's
Ever
pretty good.
have it like chopped up with scrambled eggs?
That's crazy. No, I've not had that. Like Migas hot dogs.
Yeah, that's a pretty tasty one.
Now I kind of want a hot dog for lunch, guys, but I shouldn't do it. Fernando said no one for mayonnaise. I feel like mayonnaise is a very European thing to have on a hot dog. So, wow, but ketchup and mustard, in a little fight, but it looks like mustard's gonna win. We can leave the poll up for a bit. But if you haven't checked it out, check out our God's Not Dead video that we did with Legal Eagle. It was very fun to do that. We've wanted to put this out for a while. Really excited that we did. And also if you're here, like the stream, right? It's a thing I'm gonna ask you to do. I ask you to do it because Henry and I need affirmation. We're, fragile men in a fragile world, but also it just helps. Oh, Sonoran hot dog. Thank you, Aldo, for pointing it out. But it helps us keep doing this. It helps people watch the stream. It helps the algorithm like us. Guys, the algorithm's tough. YouTube algorithm is really tough. It haunts my dreams. So there you go. What else do we have going on the channel? Since we were last together, we had a Rick and Morty video on religion that came out last week. People were kind of mad that I implied that Rick and Morty had a read of religion that was maybe like positive or at least open. So sorry to all the r/atheist community out there. We'll never do it again. But Rick and Morty season 6 is over. If you want to hear our thoughts on that, go check out the Squanch, where you get to hear Henry and Lux and my thoughts on the season. It's all up now. So there you go. Budget Ballins in the Catch Up Club. What do we have coming out tomorrow? I'm excited about this one. I think I am. Yeah, I'm excited about it. We're doing a video. Thank you, Jimmy. We're doing a video that is on the question of, is right-wing comedy funny, or can conservatives be funny? But also brings up the question, can political comedy in general be funny? I have this in front of me, so I'm gonna take something off of my desk that's behind me. I used this book in that video, a book that was kind of interesting. This book is called That's Not Funny: How the Right Makes Comedy Work for Them by Matt Sengowitz and Nick Marks. A funny thing about this book is that one of the authors is named Marx. Sometimes we talk about Karl Marx in videos and people leave comments and they say things like, stop talking about Marx. You talk about Marx too much. So we talk about Marx here, but it's a different Marx. Someone brought up Gutfeld, and he definitely comes up in that book. But in the video, though, we look at the question of both like what conservative or right-wing comedy is, what political comedy is in general, and what makes comedy funny. Now, sometimes when people want to define comedy, we'll talk about the punching up, punching down distinction, which I do think is important. But we go a little bit deeper in this one. We look at some philosophers who have written about comedy and ultimately look at maybe why it's hard to do political comedy in general. So check that video out tomorrow. And then next week, guys, this is big. Our final video of 2022. Really, the right-wing comedy is our final, like, full-on Wisecrack edition video. But next week we have a Christmas present. Our Christmas present is, I don't know, I sat down and watched The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I keep saying the title wrong, the one with Jim Carrey. And riffed about Christmas, consumerism, capitalism, religion, the way in which Christmas itself becomes its own religious structure, detached from Christianity and maybe supplanted by consumerism. The video also talks about why it's important to let your parents have sex around the holidays. So that's coming out. And that's just our sort of little Christmas gift to you that's coming out next week. final announcements, right? Final announcement I'm going to give you before we really get cooking here. Next week, okay? A couple things. Last stream of 2022 next week. Huge guest. Raymond Kramer from Cinemythology. He was the former. He's a writer and director. He's the tallest person who's ever been a part of any Wisecrack content, hands down. And we're going to talk about the best movies of 2022. We're each coming in with a list of our favorite movies. I think I might have us both send them to Henry separately beforehand. But it's going to be big. And I would say if you want to participate, you know, watch some movies this week. Come in ready to fight about what our movies are. There's a thing I said I was going to do last week that I haven't done yet. I'm either going to set up a Google poll that I'll post a link to on Wisecrack socials so you can vote for your favorite movies of 2022, or we'll maybe just do a poll on the stream next week so we can do a people's choice. So there you go. Okay, so I'm gonna final look at the hot dog topping rankings for right now. We have 149 votes in our hot dog rankings. And if you still want to vote on this, you can. 37% say ketchup. 46% say mustard. 9 relish. 8 onion. So there you go. People are already talking about their favorite movies. I'll just look at these really quick. Triangle of Sadness and Barbarian from Thornback. Dude Divide says Top Gun versus Everything Ever All at Once. I feel like I'm gonna have some takes that are gonna upset some of you when we really get into movies next week. So I hope that you don't hate me. Hope that you don't hate me when we get going. Luz wants to nominate some movies first. So maybe we'll talk movies at the end today to get ready for next time. Last little set of announcements before we get into it. Thank you for liking. It means a lot to us when you like this. If you want to have a green username, if you want emotes, if you want your chats to go to the front, if you just want to support the channel, feel free to get involved on the membership train. And if you want to be Lord of the Chat, Mellow Jello is currently Lord of the Chat. And 2023, we'll come up with some Lord of the Chat graphic we can get on screen. But if you want to be Lord of the Chat, give some memberships. It's a fun thing to do. It just creates good energy. It puts good energy into the world. You can also join our Patreon. Henry just posted the link. We do stuff there. We got some good stuff coming out in the end of the year. Also, we're going to do, oh shit, I should have reminded everyone of this. We're going to do this thing tomorrow. I'll post it in the Discord. Henry, I'm so sorry I forgot this. We're going to do a patrons only stream tomorrow. So if you are a Wisecrack patron, we're going to do a special stream just for you tomorrow. So get ready for that. Chase just brought up After Sun. I just saw that movie. I very much liked it, although it kind of shattered me emotionally. So speaking of things that have shattered me emotionally, let's talk about what's happening over at HBO Max. So some of y'all might have heard this. You probably had. HBO Max, which is now owned by Warner Brothers Discovery, is starting to both take things, and this has been happening for a while now. They're taking things off the service, which feels weird, right? Because they're things that are already produced that one would think just add to their library. And some of these are things that people like a lot, like Infinity Train. Good show. And they're just taking it off forever. A show like Miss Fletcher, they're taking it off there forever. Westworld, canceled. Time Traveler's Wife, canceled. Minx, canceled. F-Boy Island, canceled. American Pickle, off there forever, can't see it. At Home with Amy Sedaris, off there, you can't see it. Charm City Kings, off there. Close Enough, very fun animated show, off there. So that's all happening. And this week they've announced a whole new set of cancellations. So, shows have always got, and of course, Westworld, huge one. How did I forget that? Westworld, cancel and leaving the platform. So it feels weird, right? We already talked about this in terms of the Batgirl movie that took off. They took off, but it feels bad. And it feels bad for a few reasons, right? It feels bad because stuff that we like, things we are excited about, are getting canceled and are leaving the platform. Yeah, Rachel Rex says, Minx, I love that show. Jake Johnson tweeted or Instagrammed or something about how they're going to finish filming the season and hopefully find a new home for it. But I think Yeah, Nelson says, "Oh, Harley Quinn survives." It looks like it's going to, but knock on wood. You know, who knows these days? But yeah, it's surprising when when things that we like and are excited about get canceled. B, it feels weird that things are now getting erased. And this is one of the weird things about everything being on the streaming platform, on streaming platforms in general. It feels like things are just vanishing in a way they've never vanished before. In a world without physical media, when things leave, it feels like they're just gone. Logan just joined. What's up? We're having fun. Glad you're here. Vox said worth more as a potential selling property than paying to keep it stagnant. And Zavslaw only cares about the bottom line. Yes. The people that run these companies, pretty evil. John says, imagine if music streaming services did stuff like this. Yes, it'd be horrible. Mellow Jello says this whole merger has just been a shit show. She said they're going to miss Close Enough and Made for Love. Two really good shows. And Dude Abide says Twitter dumpster fire versus HBO Max dumpster fire. And Vox points this out. They were literally filming season 2 of The Minx. They were like on set, almost done filming the entire series. And they just decided to drop it like that. Okay. So it's a very confusing thing. So let's look. I want to look at this article. Are we cool with pulling that up, Henry? The Vulture one?
Yes, just a moment.
Awesome. So I want to look at an article by Catherine Van Arendonk on Vulture, really good TV writer, that gets at why this stuff is a little bit different. And what's up, Tony? Glad that you're here. Gustavo brings up hot dogs in Chile with avocado and tomato. That sounds really good. And Donnie D.O. Hart brings this up, which is important. It says people buying shows on Amazon lose their purchases when they disappear, which is also crazy. You can purchase something on a digital platform and then they remove it from the service and you lose it. It's a big bummer. Lose Mustard One. We're going to do it. Quentin, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, Reed Schiller says, this makes me pretty sad. My dream is to work for Adult Swim. I mean, yeah, Adult Swim has been canceling things and taking stuff off left and right. It doesn't feel good. So let's look at this article. So she says, recently Warner Brothers Discovery has begun quietly and not so quietly removing titles from its streaming platform, HBO Max. The first few big tranches earlier this year were a group of animated shows like Infinity Train, Summer Camp Island, et cetera, et cetera. Infinity Train, guys, good show. Really good show. Now, jumping down, it says in December, Warner said that more shows would be removed, including Gordita Chronicles, Love Life. I really enjoyed Love Life. The Nevers, Minx, Fun Show, Westworld, and Minx creator Ellen Rappaport noted several more announcements were yet to come. So it definitely seems like things are still coming. Things are still, well, I guess they're going. Article goes on and says on its face, this is a story as old as television itself. In its earliest years, TV was never something that would or could be preserved and watched again. For decades before the invention of the VCR, any TV show that aired on any given Tuesday night might never be available again, which is very, very true. That used to be the case. Now, yeah, go ahead, Henry.
An interesting aspect of this phenomenon is go to Wikipedia and look up how many like television pilots were canned before they ever aired or made it anywhere. You'll find some very weird and interesting premises that were some of them rightfully so stopped before they ever saw any kind of broadcast.
Yes. I mean, that's the crazy thing about TV in general. If you take all the shows and the ideas that get bought. Oh, Tony Lee, thank you so much, buddy. Really appreciate it. There's all the shows that get sold in a given year. And then there's the shows that get put into pre-production. And then there's the shows that get pilots made. And then there's the shows that get a series run. And it's just like an inverted triangle getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So the amount of stuff we end up seeing is crazy. Speaking of TV shows getting made, though, I just want to note this is a totally side topic thing. But it looks like they're developing on FX an American version of Peep Show now. They tried to do this a few times with Stephanie Robinson, who's one of the writers and producers from Atlanta, one of my personal favorite shows. Dan, we should have done our best TV of 2022 list on this episode. That's what we should have done today. Maybe we'll do that in an impromptu way at the end. And Jesse Armstrong from Succession is also involved in the production of the American version of Peep Show. So that's exciting. I hope that it happens. Well, let's keep going with this right now. What's up, Zach? Glad to see you here. But yeah, and let's talk throughout this about shows that we liked a lot this year. Okay. So going down, the article goes on to say losing access to a handful of TV shows feels like a pittance comparatively. There are still thousands of hours of TV series available to access whenever viewers want in more ways than ever been possible before. You can stream House of the Dragon on your pocket computer while you commute to work. Many of the disappearing shows, like Miss Fletcher, are available to buy digitally on other platforms, and a handful will likely pop up on other streamers down the line. So, what are people complaining about? And hey, if Warner is removing those series, surely that means no one was watching them anyhow, right? Plus, shows appear and disappear on streaming platforms all the time. This is just how capitalism works. And then the author notes in brackets, elaborate, insufferable shrug. I like that. I like the elaborate, insufferable shrug. And yet, shows like Minx and Love Life disappearing from HBO Max in 2022 feels different from the ephemerality of TV's early history, and even from the by now familiar dance of titles like The Office or Friends being removed from Netflix to stream exclusively on Peacock or wherever. And that is a weird thing too, that HBO Max is producing shows for their streaming service and then removing those shows from the service. Robbie C says one word: royalties. Yeah. That's another problem we can get into as well, that this whole system is making it so it's harder for people to make money on TV and to make money making TV. So it goes on to say there's no getting around the sensation of having and then losing something. It's more frustrating and immediately insulting than the awareness that there are things you never had in the first place. Damn, that's real. On an emotional level, it feels like having a toy and then realizing the Lego Corporation snuck into your room and took your toy back. Letter W's here. Glad that you're here. Mellow Jello still Lord of the Chat. Let's see. Vox Podcast says HBO Max, for instance, doesn't allow you to watch episodes of John Oliver older than 2 years. Guys, it just makes no sense. It makes no sense. Everything that's happening makes no sense. So back to this article, right? On an emotional level, it feels like having a toy and realizing the Lego Corporation snuck into your room and took your toy back. Sure, you never had all the toys. Some of the toys aren't getting made anymore. Some never made it into the toy subscription program in the first place. Some were once in the program and then got removed because actually they were racist toys. But it is deeply annoying to believe you could watch HBO shows on HBO Max and realize that actually that arrangement is conditional, as you as an individual subscriber have no control. You had something and it left. So again, shout out to Arcane for good quality writing for sure. Patrick, glad that you made it. And then Vox brings up the same thing with Days of Our Lives. But yes, it's just HBO Max. It's just one example, but it feels very weird that they are making things that are part of their brand they've already paid to produce, and now they're taking out. Edgar, thank you so much. Very kind of you. Guarnick says it's just tiring. Reality shows are insanely profitable, cost nothing to make, great cost benefit versus high cost drama, but it's sad to see entertainment being so corporate. Yeah, that's one of the issues, right? It's so much easier for these companies to make reality shows, because when you make a reality show, think about it this way, right? You're not paying the talent the way that you pay actors. They're not a member of a union. So people on reality shows get these like little fees, but they're not getting, a SAG negotiated contract and residuals. So they're just easier and easier to make. Charismatic Enigma says UK TV is a mess right now, which bums me out. Mark says, do you think it's possible that these streaming services shuffle their programming around to create a false sense of scarcity similar to video game skins? I think that's possible. I think they're always trying to create that sense of scarcity. So we want to do more stuff in that way. Okay, so back to this piece. Let's see. This is not an exclusively TV related digital problem. Whole eras on the internet blogs and profile pages, entire archives of nascent digital culture once existed and are now lost. That is sad, you know? Like all of my band's websites from high school with our really excellent music on it, really game-changing stuff, all gone. It's not even a distinctly digital problem. There are thousands of 19th century novels we have no copies of. There are centuries of indigenous cultures that have been wiped out by colonialism. Languages have gone extinct. The only truth is that everything ends, etc. Does that make it feel better when someone's hard work disappears, though? Someone's favorite show, someone's fascinating academic primary source vanished at the whim of an enormous corporation. No, it does not. And this is the hard thing with this too, is to think about what it must be like for the creators of these shows to put in this work and have the thing just be gone like that. It feels really crazy. You know, I think about this sometimes. To be frank, you know, it's like maybe someday the company that owns Wisecrack decides to sell us off or doesn't want it anymore. Do they just delete everything? Do they make all the stuff we've ever made at Wisecrack just go away? And if so, that would suck for a lot of us because we put a lot of effort and work into making this stuff. Um, and it would feel bad. Vox says, "Damn it, is Vulture just doing the episode that we want to do?" You can still do it. Um, Wheelie Wannabe says, "Is film and TV art? How does art exist with respect to the economic systems in which it is created? Can art be reconciled with capitalism and capital?" That's a really good question. We have a video, Wheelie Wannabe, that kind of got into this question. It came out a couple months ago, and it was on content. I'm gonna look up which video that was. I should know this off the top. Yeah, we have a video from 2 months ago called "Did Content Kill Culture?" which kind of gets into that question, so you can check it out. But I do think there's a really weird line with sort of that. Yeah, I'm just gonna say this. I normally don't engage with trolls, but like, Jesus Christ, this person Cream Pie Lars comes in the chat every fucking week and trolls. It's just very annoying. Just grow up, man. Just like grow up, you know? I hope you find love in your life and I hope you find something that makes you not want to show up in a chat of super chill, fun, interesting people and just troll. Like, be friendly. This is such a friendly chat. Just be nice to the people in the chat and be a part of the community and you'll have so much fun. Yeah. I mean, Hector says it happened to Machinima. It's happening. Yeah, it's all gone for sure. And that's the scary thing with YouTube. See, even the Cream Pie Lars, that's better. You're saying you miss someone. That's great. But also they still make content and it exists and you could watch it. Nick is backing up all of Wisecrack's videos on floppy disk. So I really appreciate that. But yeah, so just don't troll. This is a fun place. Yeah, Mellow Jello brings that up. So let's have a nice time, you know? Second to last stream of 2022. Everyone's too better than to be a troll. Everyone's too better, I just said. I'm talking like Mac from It's Always Sunny. Jesus. Okay, back to Vulture. In the case of TV, that sense of loss goes beyond the baseline frustration. There was a period in not so distant memory when beloved TV series were regularly made available as physical releases. Shout out. Okay, what was the first TV series that you had a box set of the DVDs for? I'm not sure what mine was. I have a few options. I'm curious what Henry's are. When I was in college, at least, I had a few seasons of Scrubs. I had a season or two of House and a season or two of CSI Las Vegas on DVD. Henry, what TV seasons did you have on DVD?
The Venture Brothers. It was a
Good one.
very much like, I remember it was like one of the first kind of like seasons of TV I kind of like bought on my own for myself as like a teen.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. Oh, I also had the Ali G show on there. Yeah. Oh, so we have, yeah, in the chat, people had Futurama, Street Sharks, Monk, Dark Angel, Simpsons, Sanford and Sons, Planet Earth, Game of Thrones, Arrested Development. I had Arrested Development as well. Stargate, Invader Zim, Aqua Teen, and Heroes, Scrubs. Yeah, someone else had Scrubs. Vox says, Henry, can you drop the link to the article in the chat? I bet he can. I bet if you're nice, he will. Although, Henry can be temperamental sometimes. Ooh, the UK Office. That's a classic one. Let's see. Dave Chappelle. Chappelle Show. That would be a good one to have. Yeah. And thank you so much, Logan. Spawn, the Ali G Show, Infinity Train. I miss DVDs. Yeah. Yeah. And then Icarus brings this up. Here's a question: what happened to all our physical media we used to have? Where did it go? I couldn't tell you. Ooh, Flight of the Concords. That's a good one. Okay. So let's get back to this. But I do think it's interesting. We always do, and it makes me want to start collecting movies again on Blu-ray and DVD. Mm. Oh, and as always, ooh, in living color. That's fun. Sunny, yeah, Seasons of Sunny. That's great. Also, like the chat, Henry. What were you saying?
Oh yes, I've kind of been in the habit of physical media just because like supplements tend to interest me. Although like even Criterion
Yeah,
Channel's better about that now, but hey, that might disappear if it's not something that's making money for people.
yeah. I mean, that's what I think that I learned so much about movies and television and the making and writing and production of them from directors' commentaries and special features. Like even in high school and college, I would love that. I would love getting a movie I was excited about, watching it, and then watching the director's cut. And as someone that, didn't study film in college or whatever, it was such an important way to learn about the process of these things. And this was, because I'm really old, this was before YouTube videos on the topics and stuff like that. So there you go. What's up, James? Glad that you're here. Um, like the stream, we'll keep reading. So it says, in the case of TV, that sense of loss goes beyond the baseline frustration. There was a period in not so distant memory when beloved TV series were regularly made available as physical releases. DVD box sets and even VHS editions of TV series were the first major bulwark against the vast and inexorable TV memory hole. With the ballooning number of TV shows produced each year and the market for DVDs cooling once streaming took hold, the hunger for physical copies of television shows has dried up. And I heard about this. The creator, I forget his name, of Station 11 was tweeting the other day about how, I mean, people are anxious that Station 11 is going to, go the way of the dodo. And he noted that Warner or whoever it is made a DVD of Station 11 without consulting the showrunner, the person who made the show. I guess eventually he got to share some insight, but it's only being made in an on demand fashion. So now, even when people are creating series, they're made in such a way that you have to order it and wait for the thing to get made. And I'm sure the quality is not that great if that happens. Um, yeah, Bow Wow, very good point. So much good stuff in the chat. Oh, Sam Cave, thank you so much, and thank you for being here. Um, Damn, good chat today. Just a great chat. I think that someone is trying to do a racism, Henry. If we could bounce them from the chat, I just realized what they're doing. um, so someone is trying to do casual. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good. Hey, what's up, my favorite commenter with an illegible nickname? I'm glad that you're here. Letter W said dried up like a Harris hole. Oh boy. Okay, so back to the article. It's one of the major differences between TV and movies on this front. Oh, I just lost the chat. That's crazy. And thank you for liking the stream. It means a lot. One of the major differences between TV and movies on this front. There are certainly films that disappear from streaming platforms and never get DVD or Blu-ray releases. But collectors and film preservation organizations like Criterion, which we just brought up, exist. There's no comparable consumer facing organization for older TV. And this is a problem, right? I think TV historically was more ephemeral and was more, because remember, like the early history of television was creating shit solely for the sake of advertising stuff. So, in a sense, when some of these things disappeared, they were like silly shows made to sell X-Lax or whatever it was. And I think there was this bifurcation where historically TV, cinema, film, cinema, art, TV, content, advertising. So we have these mechanisms and societies and organizations and services that sort of cultivate and archive the history of cinema and film. But TV has been treated a little bit more like a disposable medium. But now television is good. TV is the thing, right? TV is where great filmmakers and writers are going these days. So, oh, James, thank you so much for being here. Liz Dillinger, Wisecrack member. Shout out to Liz. Liz Dillinger, that's a good name. Let's see. Yeah, Vox says early TV literally reused tapes. They didn't realize they need reruns. Wow. Yeah, John says that the news sponsored by Lucky Strikes. Yeah. And then Guaranic says Scrubs changing the soundtrack for streaming. That's another thing that sucks when they change that. Okay, so even the Pally Center, which has an enormous and impressive collection of TV that's otherwise impossible to watch, is not in the business of distributing that collection beyond the physical confines of its New York City based archive. Side note, I desperately wish this is what Pally was all about. I would buy so many Pally collector edition DVDs of otherwise lost TV shows. So there's something that comes up in this article, which is so sad. Northern Exposure. This is a great example. Some of you might have never seen this show. Northern Exposure is one of the coolest shows that's ever been made on TV. It's basically never been on streaming. It's hard to watch. DVD copies are rare. And it sucks that things like that can just vanish. Thanks again for being here, everyone. Thanks for liking the stream. We're glad you're here. Let's see, where do we go? So DVDs of TV shows are still being made. And for big popular series like Westworld, that's still an option. Westworld, another thing that got canceled. But Westworld is the exception, not the rule. Shows produced by small studios or made by and for streaming outlets like Apple TV Plus or Netflix are much less likely to have a physical release. Yeah, so the writer says if Netflix decides to remove the incredible canceled series Teenage Bounty Hunters tomorrow, there's no DVD or Blu-ray on Prime or TV. It's gone. I mean, I feel like this. I have a DVR and I've recorded. Oh, thank you, she said. Like a show that I love a lot that got canceled, Joe Pera Talks with You, that I wrote an essay about when Wisecrack had a Medium page. You can still find if you want. I have that all DVR'd, but sometimes I worry that that's just going to not exist and I won't be able to watch this show that's meaningful to me. And that's not a huge show. Like Joe Perry Talks to You, not a super popular, not a super big show, but it's a show that's meant a lot to me. It's a show that I find comforting. And I'm sure we all have that. I'm sure we all have a comfort TV show, a show that means a lot to us, a show that's become like a text in our life. And it's fucked up to think those things can just vanish. Back to the article. And just because a DVD existed as a listing somewhere at one point doesn't make it actually accessible. Any Amazon search will show you many listings for currently unavailable DVD sets. I've had this happen a bunch of times. Even the DVDs that do exist are sometimes produced without any input from the original creators, which means there's little oversight into what makes it on or how it's presented. Can mean that creators have no physical copies of their own work. And this is the craziest thing. There's people right now who create shows who don't have access to their work, which is crazy. Someone brings up in the chat making digital copies of your DVDs because of disc rot. Now, there's another element here too. When TV appeared once a week, the rituals and rhythms of appointment viewing meant that if a show might vanish, there was one moment beforehand that was fully dedicated to its existence. In the age of newspapers printing TV listings, I am old enough to remember looking at the newspaper to see what was on TV. If you were also that old, shout it out in the chat. Maybe you don't want to. Maybe you don't want to age yourself. So maybe it's just me and Dr. Professor Christopher Maverick, PhD, that will acknowledge looking up what was on TV in the newspaper. Yes.
Along the lines of, are you old enough to remember this? I'm curious if people in the chat who were too young when it was airing to have first seen The Simpsons understand jokes it makes when it's referencing Who Shot JR.
Ooh, I mean, they can't. They can't. TV Guide channel, yeah. Yeah, let us know if you okay. Let us just be honest. If you know what Who Shot JR was, let us know. If you have no idea what that means, you can let us know as well. Oh, now we're just calling out ages in the chat. Okay, so McKenna's 24 and they remember that. Air talks about the Chicago Tribune for the TV Guide. Yeah. So this article says even before then, the reality of the programming grid made television's temporality crystal clear. In order to see what happened on NBC at 8 p.m., you had to watch NBC at 8 p.m. But streaming has turned TV into an amorphous, unending content blob. There's no specific time to watch a show. No moment when it solidly exists as a cultural artifact. Yeah, I mean, I really felt like that. Oh, Logical Larynx, what up? I think that one of the only shows that's like that now is, like ABC, not ABC, HBO, back to HBO, Sunday night shows like Game of Thrones, House of Dragon, White Lotus feel like things people actually watched at the same time. So where are we at? So yeah, I like this line. Each individual title becomes something like Schrodinger's TV show, an option that sort of still exists as possible. Sure, you haven't watched it yet, but you haven't not watched it. It's still uncertain, still unresolved. I mean, I don't know about you. I probably have 20 shows that I haven't watched yet that I'm excited to watch that are getting, like, for example, Close Enough on HBO Max. I started watching it. I thought it was really cool, and then I didn't finish it, and now it's gone. It's just gone. I can't watch Close Enough anywhere. Infinity Train. I never finished Infinity Train, a show I loved. It's just gone. It just doesn't exist now. So like it feels really crazy to have that possibility removed. Um yeah, and the article goes on to say, but once a show is gone from its streaming platform, all that exists now is the realization it's gone. If you're just showing up, thanks for being here. It's Wisecrack Live. We're talking about HBO Max TV changer. We're going to watch a video on this in a second. We appreciate you being here. It's me, Michael. It's producer Henry. It's an incredible chat of amazing people who I like so much, and are such a cool community. So jump in the chat if you're hanging out lurking and you're thinking, I want to talk to these people. You just should. They're the best. Um, let's see. So for some shows, that period of nebulous possibility has become alarmingly brief. Minx was available for less than a year on HBO Max. And at this point, it's unclear when or where it will be available again. And not to act like people that have good Hollywood careers are, victims or the real oppressed people in society, but it's sad to imagine the amount of work that goes into creating a TV show, to fostering an original idea to the point that it is getting produced. It's so hard to do that. Um, oh my God, Logical Larynx is gifting. Logical Larynx is gifting. Jordan brings up seeing too many cooks at 4 a.m. That was the best day of my life. I mean, I don't want to do it because if we play it on the stream, I think then the stream won't be archivable. But I really just want to do a stream where we just watch Too Many Cooks over and over for hours, because the weekend that Too Many Cooks came out was the best of my life. TF Prodigy says, can't read fast enough to hang with chat. It's hard. It is hard. Everyone should go to their psychiatrist and say, yeah, can I get some Ritalin or Adderall? I just need one dose a week for Wisecrack Live so I could hang out with the chat. And fam, Andor over Mando, obviously. Obviously. But yeah, so back to like the article in the Minx, and it just sucks to spend so much time working on something, producing something, millions of dollars go into making this thing, and then they just take it away. And they're taking some of this stuff away for tax write-offs and stuff like that. Blue says just do a 10-hour stream. We should do something like that, right? We should do some sort of really long stream that has some sort of gimmick or fundraising aspect to it. Yeah, we should do something like that. Let's come up with ideas. And if you're, not to sneakily promote our Discord, but if you're on the Discord, if you're a Wisecrack patron, let us know ideas for what would be a good sort of like streaming, like a marathon stream, 10 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours. Let us know what a good idea would be. Penny Waldrop has no idea what Too Many Cooks is. If you don't know what Too Many Cooks is, oh, go ahead. Henry, go for it. I was going to say, if you don't know what Too Many Cooks is, when this stream is over, don't leave. Don't leave. Stay here. Or if like a couple of you leave and come back, that's okay. But if you don't know what it is, go to on this website, YouTube, type in Too Many Cooks and just watch it. I don't want to, if you don't know what it is, you shouldn't know anything before you get into it. So there you go. Cabin's here. Only late. Violet says this is live on Twitch too. No, but it should be. Johnny brings up God's Not Dead marathon. That's a really good idea. We just have to figure out how to do it in a way where we wouldn't get kicked off. Vice News had a multiple hour stream. Speaking of content getting killed, Vice had a really good digital content arm that made stuff about food called Munchies that I used to love, and they just killed that because content is dying left and right, guys. Content's dying left and right. It's all going to die. Henry, go ahead.
Oh, just all the referencing of Too Many Cooks reminded me that Adult Swim just put out Adult Swim's Yule Log, which is yeah, it's a secret horror movie that they just kind of dropped, but Casper Kelly made it.
Amazing. Okay, I want to check that out later. Someone brought up this idea. Where is it? Christopher already watched the new Harris video. Let us know what it's like. Vice Munchies did rule, but someone, where is this? I liked this idea. Oh yeah, Icarus said you could do marathon your own videos and pause for in-depth discussion. I kind of like that idea of doing a marathon of, maybe we could even let people vote on some of their favorite Wisecrack videos ever, and then we'll stream and watch them. And I can give you behind the scenes stuff. Like I could say, oh, this is a video where early on I felt like I was doing a bad job hosting. So my wife was like, maybe you should like take an edible or get a little stoned before you go in, and that'll help. And then I did that, and it wasn't good, and it didn't work well. And I could just say, like, I was in a tiny room, the edible was hitting, I was staring at a prompter, I was starting to freak out, but I had to finish doing the video. Hypothetically, maybe I could tell you that's the one where that happened. Or, this is the one where I'll save it. I'll save it because there's a lot of fun stories like that. So there you go. Okay, one paragraph left of this. Because streaming platforms have decoupled TV series from specific timelines of when to watch, the experience of watching TV now feels less like a time. Logical Larynx comes in off the top rope really quick. One of my other favorite YouTube streamers has an end part of their stream where they respond to $5 super chats. Always a fun segment. I like that idea. And I like how Logical Larynx, you did the super chat for $5 to let us know. I like that. Should we try something like that? Henry, a super chat segment. I like it. Another thing I wanted to do on the stream at some point is an advice segment. So maybe that could be a super chat thing. You super chat a question and we give you a really, really genuine, we give you advice to something and we take it seriously. So maybe we'll do that.
Ask away.
Yeah, so maybe at 12:30 we'll open up that point. So let's finish this article. Because streaming platforms have decoupled TV series from specific timelines of when to watch, the experience of watching TV now feels less like a time and more like wandering around a place, like a time. The word platform suggests somewhere physical, and that's what it feels like. Arriving on HBO Max or Netflix or Prime and poking around, checking out all the submenus, considering the look, da 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 da. The sensation of scrolling is not actually about moving through a physical space, but that's how our brains register it. The biggest loss is that the shows themselves are gone, but eventually HBO Max may also find its subscribers starting to notice the island is shrinking. When titles disappear without warning, the whole space starts to seem less stable. The platform becomes a less reliable destination. For a few years, streaming felt like a massive, glorious new space for TV. It may actually be much smaller than we thought. So that's the piece by Catherine Van Arendonk on Vulture. Also, follow Catherine Van Arendonk on social. She's a really good writer about TV and comedy. Also, if you like music, I'll just say this. Follow another great Vulture writer, Craig Jenkins, on Twitter and all the things. Best music writer in the world right now. So if you want to like read good stuff about music, check that out. So let's I'll pause for station identification and we'll maybe check out. I pulled up a video on HBO Max. I think the collapse one is the one that works, right? Yes. I haven't really vetted this video though, so maybe it sucks butt. So we can check it out. Did we ever get a link to the Vulture article? Did we drop? Can we drop one in the chat, Henry?
Yeah, I dropped it earlier, but I can circle around and post it yet again. Yeah,
Henry will do it again because see, that's what we do. We're here to help each other. Johnny
I can
says
also share it in the Discord,
and we'll share it in the Discord as well. Wait, the Discord? There's a Discord. How do I get there? We have a Discord. You can get to it via our patron. So there you go. Yes, he is at most places. That. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, listen. Logical Larynx is not wrong. When Logical Larynx says they're streaming to get closer to their fans, but they're also a business, it is true. Both things can be true. I hate that both things are true. but both things are true. And kind of in a related way, we'll start this video in a second, in a related way to all the struggles around streaming and stuff like that, every single version of digital media and content, from people that are making TikToks to people that make YouTube videos to people that make streaming shows to people that make movies, everyone is trying to figure out what the fuck is happening right now, how they can keep making things and how they can keep making money, because it feels like the economic bottom is falling out of everything. So, that's why the vibe is weird all around right now in media spaces. And I think everyone is just kind of like afraid. And of course, this applies way beyond just digital media. But there you go. So you guys know this. I'll be earnest for 2 seconds. Thank you for your support. It means a lot. We like to make stuff. We're a very small team, so we're just trying to, stay alive and keep it going. We do have some fun ideas for the new year, though. So some fun new Wisecrack stuff is on the way. I promise. Let's check this video out. And, let's see. Hector says, I like this format, reading from an article. Pausing video from it is more manageable compared to a video. Pausing away from it. Oh, cool. Thanks, Hector. I like reading. So let's keep reading articles. That's fun. James said, sorry, if I had an income, I wouldn't be watching YouTube. That's kind of fair. But but as we get ready to go into our second hour again, this is Wisecrack Live. I'm Michael Burns. I'm here with producer Henry. Again, next week, guys. Next week is going to be big. Let's see. Sorry, 1 second. So yeah, next week is going to be very big. Raymond Kramer from Show Me the Meaning from Cinemythology is coming on to talk about the best movies of 2022. So, there you go. Please come. It's going to be very fun. It's going to be really great. We're going to have a very fun time talking about movies. Watch any movies that you feel like you still need to see to get caught up. I probably still won't see all of them, but next week, all movies. It's going to be very, very fun. So check those out. Dem says I'm working, but actually watching this. So there you go. John says, when I first started watching Wisecrack, thought they're all Michael. No idea about the corporate overlords. Yeah, but the Wisecrack team, again, we have 4 full-time people, and then we have people like Henry who work with us doing cool stuff like this, and we have some editors. Well, Henry is also an editor who makes the videos look good, but we're a very, 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 very small team. Oh no, is it getting political in the chat? I'm not gonna look. It seems like it's getting political, so I'm not gonna look. And we're gonna get some new emotes soon too. So if you have emote requests, let us know. We're definitely gonna make a Harris Hole emote for when we dive into the Harris Hole. But if anyone has other emote ideas, please let us know. Let's check out this video on the collapse of HBO Max. I'm curious if it'll get into the economics of it. It might skip around a little bit. And if the video sucks, we'll stop watching. Oh yeah, and we're still gonna talk about DCEU. We're going to talk about the James Gunn era and all that. We're going to watch some trailers, and then maybe we'll do some super chat discussion and some advice.
He asked me to describe the current state of Warner Discovery and their streaming service HBO Max. I'd say it's something akin to a clown car driving through a dumpster fire. So much
Great analogy.
just happened so quickly, and I knew during my last video.
Oh yeah, Ian R. Throat share. We do need that. If you know what throat share is, this kind of relates to Henry earlier talking about, if people get Who Shot JR. If you understand what a throat share is, then you are just like the most OG of Wisecrack Live community members.
My last video, there was no way I could fit it all in. The decline of Warner Bros. Didn't happen overnight, but I'm not gonna go through all the gritty details of how Bugs Bunny died, because we could really go back decades if we wanted. Back in 2000, AOL bought out Time Warner for $162.
Isn't that crazy to think that AOL was at one point a company that was able to buy out Time Warner? American Online, a company that seems so antiquated, had that much power. Trevor says, stop pausing for chat. Okay.
Billion. Now, eventually, AOL just kinda died and got sold off. Time Warner found itself in the middle of a controversial acquisition from AT&T, getting bought out for $85 billion in 2018. And then AT&T split off Time Warner for only $43 billion just 4 years
It's all just like real life succession wheeling and dealing. Throat goats.
later, which is terrible. WB really went from one of the biggest names on the planet to a company worth significantly less than Kroger. A lot of this is because there's too much lead in the water. Maybe it's cocaine. AT&T acquired Time Warner for a lot of money and for really, really stupid reasons. It wasn't some grand 200 IQ play. It was just petty ego and a fundamental misunderstanding of what the corporation was capable of. The executives were nervous or excited seeing
MCI, that is a throwback, Thornback.
Comcast acquire NBC Universal, and they wanted to be cool too, to get into the Hollywood game rather than the lame-ass telecom.
Well, now Dead Card is doing a super chat, so I gotta pause for that. How about this? I'll always pause for super chat. I have to. And yeah, this Whimsy channel is nice. I've watched a couple of these videos, but this one seems good so far. We'll keep going, but if you super chat, I'm gonna pause. I'm sorry.
Communications business. But for some reason, they thought that they could leverage the mobile data they were collecting from customers on the AT&T network and somehow translate that to higher television ad rates. AT&T had no business in entertainment. To be honest, they don't really have business being in telecommunications either, but this acquisition was the main reason
I mean, this is the problem with content stuff in general, though. I'm pausing, but I'm not pausing for chat. I'm pausing for explication of themes in the video. People buy media companies because they seem cool and they have no idea what they're fucking doing. What's up, Kayla? This is what happens. This is what happens in the YouTube space when people acquire a bunch of channels and companies and try to do something else. They don't know what they're doing and it fails. Like, I hate to crap on anyone, but if you look at some of you who are dedicated Wisecrack heads might remember that earlier this year, we tried out some new formats. We did some videos on science. We did some animated stuff. We had a game show, hot take. And I will say this, we had fun making those. And I do think some of those are pretty good, but it was a recommendation from on high that we make that sort of content, right? There was a mandate from higher levels of corporate stuff about this. The same thing with Wisecrack stopping our podcast, right? I loved our podcast. If anyone ever wants to hear or see me cry, you can listen to the final episode of the Wisecrack Culture Binge podcast. But that was advice. That was not our decision. So often when people take over media entities, like when a telecommunications company buys a cable service or a production company, they don't know what they're doing.
WB is in the position it is today.
Yeah,
just
sure,
for some
crackheads.
Perspective, AT&T CEO at the time suggested cutting down Game of Thrones episodes to
Logical Larynx, thank you so much for funding the pauses. We gotta pay for the pause. They gotta pay for the pause.
20 minutes a piece to better suit the mobile market. This is how low the bar is. Anyway, AT&T got really caught up in its hopes for a massively successful streaming service, something to compete with that Disney Plus. And during the pandemic, the company viewed the situation as a huge opportunity, actually. Movie theaters are closed, people are at home. They decided, rather than delay upcoming blockbuster films for a few months or a year, that they would just throw them out on the new streaming service HBO Max. It was bold, brash.
And I'll say this, and Logical Larynx paid for this because their chat is still active in the little timer, so this works. I'll say a good thing, just to say too much. We're in a good place now, though, everyone. There's been some corporate shakeup-y stuff. We have some great new people that are kind of involved in overseeing stuff on our channel. We're feeling good. We're feeling good about the future, friends. So there's that.
And turns out really, really stupid. When you give people the option to watch any film that you make from home, it makes
Brian, thank you so much. I like Brian just funding more pauses. We love funding pauses.
less financial sense for them to go to the movie theater. Now, a lot of people had questions of how this would possibly make money when it went down, but AT&T seemed to view it all as very sensible because people were going to be using AT&T services more. But yeah, AT&T had a grand vision of removing net neutrality and blocking off anybody from.
Yeah, Vox says something that I just can't get into on stream. I would gladly talk about it on Discord. I'll say that. The thing that Vox just brought up. We can talk about it on Discord sometimes. But I'll say this, some of the really old Wisecrack series people bring up, like Alien's Guide and Thug Notes, the main reason those aren't produced is they were just too expensive to make, because this relates to the topic of this. Some of you might have noticed this. If you look at some of the YouTube content that was made 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, higher production value. They almost look like little TV shows because people thought that YouTube was going to become the new TV and there was going to be all this money in it. And then it didn't happen because there wasn't that much money in it. We're actually working on a video right now that'll come out in January about why YouTube sucks sometimes and how it's really hard to make money on YouTube and why the content has changed. So I'll save that.
From viewing content from Warner Brothers unless they had AT&T internet or mobile services. But even with these billions of dollars in investments, it still didn't work out in their
I agree with Anthony to get mad at the top 1%. See, I can agree with that.
favor, because they're just that stupid. Most Warner Brothers movies proceeded to just lose hundreds of millions of dollars since nobody was paying to see them. Now, I would never complain about movies going straight to streaming day one. I prefer it, but AT&T's plan was not birthed from this charitable pro-consumer mindset. It was just an attempt to boost HBO Max's subscription numbers as quickly as possible and try and take advantage of net neutrality laws that were, well, didn't pan out. And you know what? If somehow they got to 300, 400 million subscribers and everybody everywhere was flocking to see Wonder Woman 1984, if net neutrality was removed and they could just force people to get AT&T to watch
Maximilian, Discord is for Patreons and people that are members of the YouTube channel.
this, then maybe it might have worked out, but it didn't. After this brilliant plan failed, AT&T decided to spin off Warner Bros. Because, surprise, surprise, it was losing a lot of money because of AT&T, but whatever. It wasn't just because of this particular scheme, it was also because AT&T is just kind of incompetent. They had a lot of debt and wanted to plop some of that on somebody else. So spinning off Warner Media, giving them the debt, selling it to Discovery, what could go wrong? What we're left with is Warner Brothers Discovery.
And who thought that Discovery had the money to buy Warner Brothers, but then you realize they own so much reality TV.
Stuff dreams are made of. And it's been a rough time. And that's the big reason people are here. That's what you want to...
Even though we're out of pause money. So this is my last pause for a bit. So shouts to Trevor, who hates when I pause. I'm going to stop pausing again in a second. But Christopher says Bo Burnham pointed this out in the past that his show was just a front for his brand. That's how it works. Merchandising is where the money is. Yes, that is where the money is. Peter says, will Wisecrack put their content on Nebula? I don't know. I don't really know how the Nebula thing works. And that would have to be negotiated via our parent company. So I'm really not sure. John says, which is better besides both being a member on YouTube or Patreon? I think if you're going to do one, probably Patreon, because on Patreon, you also get early videos with no ads, and you get some extra content. And I think we get more money off the Patreon thing, but it's still fun both ways.
You want to hear about Batgirl?
No pausing for a while.
Too. The Christmas Scoob. Yeah, so if you didn't know, there was a Batgirl movie. It cost like $90 million to make.
Brendan
and it was
Fraser was in
supposed to
Batgirl?
release later this year on HBO Max. It was almost entirely shot, entering
Thanks, she said. See you
post-production, and
soon.
it was canceled. It's not coming out. It's dead. Now, if you didn't know, this was a movie that was coming out this year exclusively for HBO Max. I wouldn't blame you, because I didn't know it was a thing. I had no idea it was in production or existed until it was gone. But regardless, this caused a reaction. Now, I don't know how legitimate the backlash was to this cancellation. It could have been fueled by opportunistic pop culture journalists, but regardless, most people found it kind of weird that a movie that was mostly finished was just not coming out. Lost
That's
media,
crazy.
never to be seen. A final funeral showing for the cast and crew, and then bloop, deleted off
they
the
locked
hard
it away.
drives.
It's
so
off
why'd
the
they do
server.
this? Were they just
I know I shouldn't be pausing, but like literally the people who made the Batgirl movie don't have access to the movie they made. That's crazy.
being meanies? If a studio expects
Jimmy
a film
Nails.
to bomb
Thanks for
either
hanging
due
out.
to the test audience reaction or the executives just don't like how it's turning out, they
Like the
have the
stream.
option to get rid of it and write off the production as a tax loss.
Like the stream or I'll pause.
The blame
So
here,
that's
in my
important.
opinion, should go
Hopefully everyone caught that. That was important.
On the old regime that greenlit this in the first place. Obviously, it
Yes.
wasn't going to be profitable.
Funding
There's
pauses.
no way a $90 million Batgirl HBO Max exclusive film was going to bring in $90 million from tens of millions of new subscribers to the service. It just wasn't going to happen. I mean, if people already like DC, they're probably subscribed to HBO Max. It's not like you're
Whoa, Cademan, we're just you're funding pauses today. I love it. Kevin says, didn't have anything I wanted to watch on HBO Max, but noticed Doom Patrol is back. Is it worth $12? I know we're talking about HBO Max falling apart. I do really like it for a streaming service. It has a really good movie collection. It has some of the Criterion stuff. It has Turner Classic Movies on there. A lot of good series. Southside is on there, which is one of the best comedy shows currently being made. If you have not watched Southside, watch Southside. But who knows what's going to happen soon? Who knows, right? Let's see. We're paused until 1 p.m. now. Yes.
finding a whole new
I would love to have Adam Conover on the show too, Logical Larynx. I'm going to say something weird. I shouldn't say this, but Adam Conover lives like on my street. I see him running all the time. So maybe when he's running, I should just be like, Adam, want to come on stream? Maybe I should go outside and see if I can snag him.
audience from this. Now, some have said, why don't they
Curb is
just
worth 13.
release it in cinema and hope for the best from the box office? Well, one, they
Sopranos,
would
The
have
Wire.
to spend like another $90 million on marketing, and this film doesn't seem to mesh with the future plans of DC. There just seems to be a lot of reasons this particular movie was canceled. In terms of Scoob 2, reportedly it's almost finished,
Barcelona
and wouldn't cost
sounds
too
nice.
much to get it done. And while it's still being wrote off for tax purposes, it's possible the movie could be brought back in the future if WB wanted to pay back those deductions to the federal government. I don't think they will, but some people do. Other than that, we have the much publicized removal of HBO
I would love to make a video about Southside. I would love nothing more.
original movie shows, Sesame Street episodes, and Cartoon Network stuff. This to me was a bit more bizarre than Batgirl, because for one, they already own it. It's content that's been paid for, it's done, it exists, it's out, and at first glance it seems entirely counterproductive to remove content from your streaming service that you made for your streaming service. But there's a reason for this, and again, it's money. Warner Discovery's lack of money. Residual payments. For each of these shows, the cast and crew gets paid just because it's on the streaming service.
Okay, so there we go. So they're taking stuff off because of residual payments owed to the creators and the producers of the shows that they don't have to pay if they're off.
Reports state that for all this content to remain on HBO Max, it would cost about $100 million a year in payouts, and the shows in question weren't being
And of course, this is a big part of like the switch to streaming is that like the Screen Actors Guild and the Producers Guild and the Writers Guild have had to renegotiate their ability to get residuals from streaming, because historically people made a lot of their money off residuals from TV shows being on networks. That's why people involved in Seinfeld and Friends and The Office can just shit money. The shift to new media and digital stuff cut out a lot of that money. So there's been a lot of constant negotiations there. And a way then that they can avoid paying that money is taking stuff off.
viewed frequently enough to justify that cost. Because of course they weren't. $100 million a year? Doesn't that seem a bit excessive? My guess is that the old executives
Oh yeah, Ring Around the Rosie, Close Enough is gone. Close Enough is just gone. You cannot watch it.
in their quest to make HBO Max take off, paid exorbitant residual rates to a few creators making original content to try and get the service to blow up as quickly as possible. Future projects like the anticipated Batman the Animated Series revival seem to be getting shopped around to other streaming services, which is very embarrassing. Warner Discovery is at the point where it has to sell out to other companies to stay afloat. Now, other incidents have occurred, like layoffs and CNN Plus.
The CNN Plus thing was crazy. That they announced a whole new streaming service for CNN Plus. They acquired all these shows, all this talent, and it was up for like a week or so. That was really insane. And if you notice as well, I mean, keep track of this. HBO Max been firing people at a constant clip. Netflix been firing people at a constant clip. Hulu's had layoffs. Everything in like the media ecosystem is collapsing.
The CNN service that was canceled within a month of its initial launch. Now, they also removed original movies and probably did other stuff that I forgot. But the best part about all this seems to be why they did it. All these actions.
And we'll talk about the Wonder Woman 3 thing in a second because we'll do some DC EU talk.
The layoffs, the cancellations, the removal of content, it was in service of a plan to save $3 billion, to cut costs. But by announcing all of these changes, it lost so much faith in the company that the market value dropped by $20 billion.
So Logical Larynx says, and Logical Larynx gets to talk about whatever they want. Can we talk about the money disparity between traditional pre-streaming TV making money through ads and streaming platforms making money through subscriptions? I wonder how wide the gap is. Well, I mean, here's the deal, right? When streaming services make money off subscriptions, there is a finite number of people in the world, and there's a finite number of people that make enough money to have these things. So it's not an infinite model. And of course, free market capitalism is predicated on the, theological myth of infinite growth. Now, while advertising money isn't infinite, there's a higher upside and a lot more potential for advertising money at a constant clip than there is for subscription. So it's a weird business model. And that's why we're seeing Netflix and all these other streaming services now reincorporate advertising. So we're basically just getting traditional television again because there's no room for that type of growth on those streaming services. So I think that's when we talk about the money gap, you have that. And you also think about the fact that at the peak of a show like Seinfeld, right? People are just watching standard TV on a few channels. There's not as many options. Because so many people are watching TV, advertisers are putting so much money into that. So if you look at the numbers of how many people would watch an episode of, Cheers or Friends or Seinfeld, compare that to shows now, right? The views are a lot more disparate. So advertisers are putting less money into stuff like that, where advertisers putting money into algorithmic targeted advertising. So there you go. Turtles All the Way Down says, you're talking about Close Enough. Close Enough on Netflix. Is Close Enough on Netflix now? If that's cool. James says community theater still functions. I do think that's kind of important that we find ways to support art and communities. JVM says free Michael's soul. Please do. Please free my soul. I mean, it's trapped.
Dollars. Now sure, this isn't a one-to-one comparison market value in real actual money, but still, you could make an argument that they lost $20 billion in an attempt to save 3. Going forward, it's gonna be rough. Reportedly, Aquaman 2 and Shazam 2 were delayed because, amongst other reasons, WB doesn't have enough money to market the films this year. And yeah, that's not great. The entire fate of the corporation seems to be resting on the shoulders of one Dwayne "The Rock the Tooth Fairy" Jumanji Johnson. Look, it's not gonna get better. Remember how AT&T spent an insane, outrageous amount of—
Stealth89, thanks for hanging out. And thanks so much for being here, everyone. We really like it. Thanks for being here. And thanks especially to everyone with a green username. We love it. And like the stream if you haven't already, it means a lot.
Money getting HBO Max off the ground. They did all of this, which destroyed these films
This video is called The Collapse of HBO Max, if you want to go look it up.
Just to get new subscribers to the service. Well, this was the future of Warner Brothers that everything was building towards. And the new management, which conveniently didn't come from the old Warner Brothers, but rather Discovery, has decided, HBO Max has had its time in the sun. Now it's gotta be put down. That's right, after billions of dollars of debt and costs and losses, they just want to start over.
So it's already going to come a new thing. And I think this video is made before this announcement. I think the new service is just going to be called Max.
Which is mind-blowing to me, because it's about the last thing you would want to do right now.
Logical Larynx has asked for another link to Patreon. You can get it, because Logical Larynx gets whatever they want.
The only stable part of your—
if you're Patreon members, you don't get a green handle, but you get a lot of stuff. So it's really a kind of, you don't get a green handle, but you get a bunch of other things. So you still win. You still win.
Company, and you just say, let's get rid of it. I think the reason they're doing this is corporate politics. I think it's as simple as guy comes from Discovery, he doesn't want to build off the achievements and service of the old guard. He's got to get his own project, make a new service that's his trophy.
Yeah, Dry Al Khalif says, I don't get why they're taking off the HBO name. That's what I don't get. Max, like HBO is one of the most esteemed brand names in media that's produced some of the most important TV shows of the past 20 years, and we're going to kill that brand name. Stupid.
One that combines HBO Max and Discovery Plus into a new, more expensive platform. Now, one might question, why not take the
Last pause for a bit. But also, if you don't follow Wisecrack on Twitter, you should do it because they finally let me start running it. So I'm on the Wisecrack Twitter now doing things. So if you need a little bit more of this chaotic energy in your life, follow Wisecrack on Twitter. I'm the one of the people behind that now.
garbage on Discovery Plus that nobody is actually watching anyway and just shove it on HBO Max? Well, that would just make too much sense. HBO Max has all these subscribers. Discovery Plus has this many. Of course, it doesn't make sense to just get rid of HBO Max after all this work and effort, so it's gotta be ego. They don't want Discovery content playing second fiddle, even though it absolutely is second fiddle. And by doing this, it might kill the whole company, who knows?
Hello,
Just the
Jello, it is
logistics
me.
of trying to start a new streaming service. You have no guarantee that in 2 years, people are going to
And yeah, I mean, Twitter sucks, by the way. So it's like fitting that I didn't get to start running the Wisecrack Twitter until Twitter became just a big pile of doo-doo. So there you go. Let's see. Urinator, if you're a YouTube member, is a Discord link still a member only post? It should be, but if not, follow up and we can figure it out.
want to thing. Who knows how many people just pushed the big movies and forgot to cancel their subscriptions. Moving over here is a massive risk that makes no sense. It boggles the mind that a corporation with so many notable IPs, so many ways to make money, could be collapsing like this. Am I saying that I could have done a better job? Yes. Yes, I am. And I think you could too. Any random person off the street would probably manage to keep this trash heap afloat a bit longer than
I think we could run it if they made us the collective board of Discovery, HBO, Warner, whatever. I think we would all do a really good job.
these executives who are paid millions of dollars. So here's to you, stupid ass decisions. I'll see you in 2 years when you merge with Chipotle.
That's what I want. I want a Chipotle merger. That would be great. That would be really great if they merged with Chipotle. Okay, so that's that video. Thanks, Kim, for being here. Station identification. You're watching Wisecrack Live with Michael Burns and producer Henry. Thanks for being here. If you haven't checked out our recent videos, do those. Hey, we got a video coming out tomorrow. It's on right-wing comedy. I think it might be spicy. I don't know what the thumbnail is yet, but I'll tell you this. We had the idea for a thumbnail of George Bush doing stand-up that I kind of hope we use. I'll let you know if that happens, but you know, I'm excited for that idea. So this is kind of related. I guess we should kind of, just keep this train going. I'm going to pull this video up and then pause it immediately.
Okay, so after last week's...
But now we're going to see what's going on with the DCEU. James Gunn is in. A lot of people are out. People are upset. Henry Cavill's not Superman anymore. Oh my God, what's happening? Oh no, someone said Henry's so silent. Henry, are you okay? Henry, are you alive?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay, Henry's alive, everyone. He is not. He did not go anywhere. I didn't want anyone to be worried about that. And again, thank you everyone for being so active in the chat today. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the donations. Thank you for your memberships to Wisecrack and the Wisecrack Live community. Thanks for joining Patreon and jumping on the Discord. We like it. We just like it. We like it. What can I say? I don't know. I just saw this. I don't know if there's context in the chat, but I saw something about me dancing on Rush Limbaugh's grave. I've never danced on a grave. I've never danced on a grave before. So let's check this video out again. Another thing I just pulled up from a decent channel that's talking about this. Oh my God, I forgot that Chipotle was part of McDonald's. Okay. Let's learn about the DCEU. Well, let's maybe start with this. I don't know if you have an opinion on this, Henry. We might have talked about this a little bit. We might have talked about it another time. Do you have James Gunn thoughts or opinions?
I like his work. I think the Guardians movies are some of the best MCU stuff. I really liked Peacemaker. The Suicide Squad was enjoyable, but probably my least favorite of his work. But I liked what it used and went on to do with Peacemaker. And I mean, I like the dude's sensibilities as far as storytelling goes. So I'm hopeful that this is something neat.
Yeah, I agree. Well, in the chat, what are our Gunn thoughts? Gunn, Gunn, not the other one. I agree with Henry for the most part. I think that the Guardians movies are great, some of the strongest things in the MCU. I think Peacemaker is the best DC thing I've seen in quite some time. The Suicide Squad, or whatever the second one was, right? I enjoyed it. It was not my favorite, but I definitely enjoyed it and what he's doing there. So there you go. Yeah, it seems like people are agreeing with us on that for the most part. So I don't know, cautiously optimistic. I don't care a lot, though. I don't care a lot, but I'm at least interested in that. So let's see what's going on.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
One thing I'm kind of curious about overall is the kind of tone he has. I want to see it applied to a live action depiction of a dark side story because I think that'll be fun.
Okay.
I don't really have any other asks for whatever he does with the DCU, so I think I'll be pretty entertained by whatever happens.
Yeah. Okay. Again, agreed on the most part. And in the chat, let's see. Oh, he wrote the Scooby-Doo films. People like his humor. We think he's a good director. We like that he brings adult themes to things. Someone just said The Boys. The Boys is still the best superhero related content getting made. I'll say it, and I don't care. Let's watch a little bit of this and see if there's anything we don't know that we can learn.
Okay, so after last week's big DC announcement, I went to bed thinking that things would work themselves out and it was gonna be fine. Over the weekend, we had a number of things happening, and I actually used
this from the Heavy Spoilers channel.
The powers of cognitive reasoning to work out why Henry Cavill had to be staying as Superman in the DCU. Now listen in, so here's what I thought. James Gunn, yeah.
There's a lot of really good meme clips right off the bat.
He's married to Jennifer Holland. Holland plays hardcore in Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, and also Black Adam. Black Adam ends with a tease towards Superman, and therefore the only way that Henry Cavill was out is if Gunn had decided to ruin his marriage and make it so that all the movies with his wife in didn't matter anymore. I thought there's no way that's happening, and then Josh from Denim Nerds put out a tweet saying that James Gunn doesn't like Henry Cavill, which Gunn actually debunked. Dealt out one of the most brutal ratios of all time, complete body bag, destroyed him, and I thought, yeah, Henry Cavill, he's safe. However, turns out that was a
So what is Wisecrack's position on Dave Chappelle? I don't think we have an official position or line. I can tell you my position on Dave Chappelle, which is that his early specials are very good. Chappelle's Show is amazing. At his best, he's been one of the best stand-ups ever. And I think his recent work is not as good. And I think he's less funny than he used to be. And I think he's gotten less funny the more he's gotten involved in like culture wars. And I think bringing out Elon Musk to scream, "I'm rich, bitch," at your show was pretty stupid.
lie, and Henry Cavill has been kicked to the
what James said.
curb after only just announcing that he was back. It's a fucking show, and Henry was like, "Black Adam, we need to talk. We're both at the DCU. Fuck's sake." Guessing James Gunn's filing those divorce papers right now, and as always, if you're gonna be a DC fan, you're gonna have a bad time. Throughout this video, we're gonna be breaking down Henry Cavill's post, James Gunn's reply.
It does sound, though, from what I understand, that Henry Cavill is out for the next Superman movie that's on his earlier years, but not out completely.
And also talking about the implications of this. I really think that the Snyderverse...
my stance on Dave Chongle is thought leader, innovator, future of the industry, things of that nature would be my thoughts on Dave Chongle.
Is definitely over at this point as we have Cavill out.
Hey, what's up,
Momoa is probably going to be playing Lobo, and judging by James Gunn's comments, Affleck is possibly going to be brought in to direct something. Anyway, we're going to be getting into it all, and please hit the thumbs up button if you enjoy the video, and don't forget to subscribe for breakdowns like this every day. With that out of the way, huge thanks.
Well, yeah, so when Vox says he was always involved in the culture wars, yeah, I think that he was involved. If you look at some of the issues in Chappelle's Show, I guess he was on a more interesting, critical side of the culture wars, and now he's put himself on the side where he's aligned with Elon Musk.
Huge thank you for clicking this. Now let's get into the video. Okay, so last night Henry Cavill posted this. "I have just had a meeting with James Gunn and Peter Safran, and it's sad news, everyone. I will, after all, not be returning as Superman. After being told by
Well, we can read that. I will say, Logical Larynx, who gets whatever they want. This is what's your stance on Hulu's Dave? I avoided watching Dave because I find Lil Dicky so incredibly obnoxious. And then I finally watched it. I think Dave is a good TV show.
the studio to announce my return back in October prior to their hire, this news isn't the easiest, but that's life. The changing of the guard is something that happens. I respect that. James and Peter have a universe to build. I wish them and all involved with the new universe the best
I
of
can't wait till when they kick me out of Wisecrack and I'm gonna have some cool like notes app thing that I post. Oh, I can't wait. I'm gonna get written up soon.
luck and happiest of fortunes. For those who've been by my side through the years, we can mourn for a bit, but then we must remember Superman is still around. Starting to cry up a bit. Everything he stands for still exists. The examples he sets for us are still there. My turn to wear the
I'm gonna
cape,
fast
actually due
forward.
to the fact that Cavill just quit The Witcher in order to likely give his full attention to his return as Superman.
That does suck. If he quit The Witcher because he thought he was about to do a bunch of Superman projects and now he's just got nothing, that sucks. That sucks.
Superman.
Actually, Henry, do you have any, just to get really spicy and piss everyone off, do you have any Dave Chappelle takes? Because the chat's been talking about it.
I
You don't
don't
have
like
to.
the turf stuff at all. I think
Yeah,
also
it's a pretty good
I
take.
think you generally covered the rest of it, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, my Glassdoor review is going to be crazy. Yeah, no, if they kick me off, I'll go to my own YouTube channel where I currently have 100 followers and put up 4 videos ever, 3 of which have copyright things on them. Have fun taking the dog out, Yoko Misum. Yeah, I think that, I guess I don't want to say too much about Dave Chappelle and the comedy stuff because the video that's coming out tomorrow gets into some of this and gets into at least how I think comedians can be edgy and smart and interesting ways, and looks at how they are not. And, I'll spoil this. In the video, we have a clip from a recent Ricky Gervais special where he does some of his trans jokes. And then we have a clip from a recent James Acaster special where he kind of makes fun of that. And I think it kind of says a lot right there. So there we go.
The guy's been messed about so much over the last decade, and after donning the cape for 2013's Man of Steel, he has been brushed to the side. Superman should be a flagship character, but he was swept under the rug, and he became Schrodinger's Supes for several years, where we didn't know whether he was in or out. However, Hope came back with Black Adam, and it seemed like Cavill was finally coming back. There were rumblings of a Man of Steel 2 script being worked on, and it was confirmed that he filmed a cameo for The Flash. However, The Hollywood Reporter posted last week that this cameo had been removed and that he was completely out the universe. Gunn did a big post saying some of it was true and some of it wasn't. Unfortunately, we now know what was happening. Now, Josh got a lot of shit over the weekend for saying that he heard Gunn doesn't like Cavill.
It's a very weird thing to just tweet out as well. So it's just like, that's not like good news that someone doesn't like someone. Lots of people don't like lots of people. That's fine.
But I don't know how else you chop it up, in all honesty.
Logical Larynx says, is Joe Rogan's comedy far right too, or just his podcast and lifestyle? You know what? I don't really know a lot about Joe Rogan's actual comedy. I couldn't tell you if I've ever seen one of his stand-up clips. So I wouldn't feel comfortable saying out loud right now in a public forum, Joe Rogan is a right-wing comedian, because I truly don't know.
Bite you too harshly, and though I don't want to stir the pot, unless this is a full 100% reboot, then there's not really any way that you can say otherwise. If some of the actors from the old guard are kept and Cavill isn't, then yeah, maybe he doesn't like him, but I do want to try and stay
Do we think that Cavill ends up getting a role in the MCU? And if he did, what sort of MCU role could Cavill have?
away from the gossip as much as possible. However, the optics on this, they're not that good. Now, I do also think it's important to know that The Rock fought with execs to bring Henry Cavill back. For this to just be completely overlooked now has probably rubbed The Rock way, and Gunn probably feels like he's stuck between The Rock and a hard place. I highly doubt that Black Adam's going to be back anytime soon either, because of the box office performance and the fact that the post-credits scene now means absolutely nothing at all. This will probably annoy a lot of people as well that bought tickets to Black Adam just to see Cavill's return, and I think that it's a big misfire by Gunn. Now, Gunn's reply to this reads, Peter and I have a DC slate ready to go, which we couldn't be more over the moon about. we'll be able to share some exciting information about our first projects at the beginning of the new year. Among those on the slate is Superman. In the initial stages, our story will be focusing on an earlier part of Superman's life,
I mean, this
so the
makes
character
sense.
will not be played by Henry Cavill. But we just had a great meeting with Henry, and we're big fans, and we're talking about a number of exciting possibilities to work together in the future, which probably won't happen. It's like, whenever you ask someone to do something and they go, well, I'll try, it often means they're not going to do it, mate. That's just in general. If you ever ask someone and they go, I'll try, they're not going to do it. And I kind of get that feeling reading these. I don't think Henry's going to.
Mellow yeah. When Mellow recommended the Green Lantern thing, I was like, wait a second. Let's see. Yeah, this video, I'm not like loving it. I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. I need more information. I need more info. Let's see.
DC is probably going to be a show for a long time, and it might be better to avoid what's coming because it really could go either way.
Okay, I don't know. We might just skip ahead here. Let's see. Oh, and there's the Patty Jenkins stuff, which is not good. It seems like Wonder Woman 3 is definitely not happening. She also has some issues with the Star Wars world. You can look that up. Once you see the end of this
And to
video.
me, it puts DC off on the wrong foot going forward. However, at this point, I think Gunn may think the old universe comes with too much baggage and they just want to get rid. But will it work? Well, that's what I'm putting over to you. Patty, tell him, we're putting it over to you. Do you think it's gonna work? You think Rogue Squad?
Okay, I can't listen to that guy's voice anymore. I'm really sorry. Okay, so it's now 12:36. I will say this. We're opening it up. If James is right. If there's any super chats that come through from here on out, we're responding to them. We're digging in. And if you have any questions, any advice things, Henry and I will dig in. We will dig in from this point out. Okay, let's check out the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse trailer. I've not watched it yet. I've saved it to watch with you all. So let's just watch it, if that's cool with everyone. And in the meantime, if you have questions, any advice stuff, and if you want to drop in a super chat, let us know. Thanks for being here. Like the stream if you haven't. Be good to each other. Let's watch the new Across the Spider-Verse trailer. It's like the one thing Sony has. Good for them.
I can hear you being quiet, Mom.
I hope I didn't ice your game, man.
Whoa,
No
Miles is
one
grown
my
up.
age says those words in that order.
It's just hard to see my little man not
Oh yeah, sorry. If anyone doesn't want to see this, it's 2 minutes. It's 2 minutes.
being my little boy all the time.
Yeah.
You know, for years I've been taking care of this little boy.
Oh boy.
Making sure he is loved. That he feels like he belongs wherever he wants to be. He wants to go out into the world and do
Oh,
great
yeah,
big
hype.
things.
Not bad, kid.
And what I worry
I
about
love that
most
Jake Johnson is in this.
I love you, Miles.
is they won't look out for you like us. Miles! Want to get out of here? Wherever you go from here, you have to promise to take care of that little boy for me. Make sure he never forgets where he came from.
Well, James, I can't convince things. James, if you want, lay out an argument for neutral monism, and we'll talk about it.
And he never doubts that he is loved. And he never lets anyone
Oh, it looks so good.
tell him that he doesn't belong there. You gotta promise, Miles.
I promise.
Who do you think you are? Really?
We are supposed to be the good guys.
We are.
Okay, I'm hyped. That's great. That's really great. I'm very excited about this. Very, very excited about this.
Yes.
What else is there to say? I mean, how exciting is that?
Oscar Isaac? Yes, sign me up.
Oh. Yeah, I gotta say, guys, I'm just as excited. Wait, does it say, do we have a release date for that yet? Does
I
it
believe
say?
June 2nd.
June 2nd. Okay, friends, let's stay alive till June 2nd. Another thing we're thinking about for streaming in the future, friends, if this is of interest, is when a movie comes out we're excited about, the day after or near when the movie comes out, just doing a dedicated stream to dive into that movie where we'd only spoil it at the end. So that could be a thing that we might do in 2023. We're going to get into more stuff. Does anyone care? I kind of think it looks pretty rad. But does anyone care about the Scream trailer for Scream 6? Let us know. Okay, Logical Eric says, is there any school of philosophy that comes to mind when you think of the MCU's multiverse? I mean, I think that multiverse theory, way more scientific. However, there's something about the multiverse and the opening up of new paths that does make me think of philosophies of contingency. So, like when in philosophy, right? If we think about contingency and necessity is sort of like fate and like logical sequential, and this happens because that happens, and this happens because that happens, and there's a level of determinism. When we think about contingency, it's the idea that reality is more unsettled. It's like the metaphysical version of existentialism, like a cosmic existentialism, where there's no like built-in sequentialism or determinism to reality. And I think that the MCU's take on the multiverse, where decisions open up new paths or new realities, is similar to what we get in philosophies of contingency. Yes. And I think that it makes things a little less teleological. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on this, Henry? I'm just kind of
Yeah,
talking out
this
my
is
ass a little
more
bit.
on the side of theoretical physics. There's
Yes.
the idea of the amplituhedron, which is
Whew.
how do I explain this in a brief time on the stream? Imagine a transdimensional, just a geometric object composed of every edge, every vertices is basically like a multiversal or universal split. We can only perceive so many dimensions as humans, 3 or 4. But if you just keep extending that infinitely, 4 choices, you get this kind of theoretical transdimensional diamond, which is very comic booky to me. But the concept's called an amplituhedron. I can type that out in the chat so people can check it out on Wiki and all the other good research on
that
it.
rules. I need to once every 5 years, I remember that I need to relearn about everything happening in theoretical physics. And it's always a very fun weekend when that happens. I used to be very, very, very into these sorts of things. So that's very cool. Oh yeah. And then Vox is bringing in Feynman's multiple histories theory. Yeah, that's cool. Okay. So let's, if anyone has any more questions like this, drop them in the super chat. Also, I think it'd be fun to give life advice. Anyone have any like issues, any questions, anything they're working through we could help with? Let's watch the Scream trailer. I have been out on Scream. I loved the last movie, so I'm actually excited that a new one is coming out, and I love the characters that are staying there. Scream in New York, give it to me. John's paying it forward. We love paying it forward culture. Horrifying. I would never want to be on a subway on Halloween. It sounds like hell. Nope. Jesus. That's so soon in March. That looks fun. I'm very excited about that. That looks fun. Kevin doesn't care enough to avoid this trailer. Let's see. Oh, Moises is waiting on a scary test. Moises, we hope you're okay. We're truly sending good energy your way, and we're just hoping for the best. I'm really sorry that you're going through that, but try to stay positive. It sounds cliche to say, but it has mental health effects our physical health. So try to stay positive. Jordan brings up grammar and its arbitrariness. I don't have any deep thoughts on this, but I do think that we don't often think about the arbitrary nature of grammar and then how knowledge is built upon this arbitrary foundation. But that's maybe another talk for another day. Um, let's see. Oh, just looking in the chat. Do I apply to the DA's office or the public defender's office? Really want to be has 2 months to make a decision. Ooh, I don't know. It's like, do you want to, be inside the system or defending those outside it? Is it, I don't know, but there's like some good DAs now. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. If anyone who's in law has a sense of that, let him know. Let him know. Okay, so let's start to wrap things up. A few things. If you have not watched our most recent video that's on God's Not Dead with Legal Eagle, please watch it and you can jump in on the great hot dog debate of 2022. Tomorrow's video, if you're a patron, you're going to get a link to it soon. You'll see it early. But tomorrow's video is on right-wing comedy. I don't know. I think there's some good stuff there. And again, I even read a book for it. I read a whole book. The Last of Us. We're not going to watch it today, but we're excited to talk about that in the future. So check that out. And we have a special Christmas video coming at you next week. Big thing though, next week. Okay, everyone, next week, December 22nd. I'm not going to bring this up next week, but I'll say it. It's my birthday. We're going to be streaming on my birthday. I normally take the whole day off on my birthday, but I've decided I'm going to do the stream and then I'm out. Like the second the stream ends next week, I'm off the clock. I'm going. I'm not going to tell you where I'm going, but I'm going to go. I'm going to do some fun stuff. So that'll be great. But we're next week, December 22nd, a day that I'm getting older. Raymond's joining us. We're talking the best films of 2022. It's going to be a big one. So if you care about movies, you like talking about them, show up for that. Show up for that. It's going to be a really good time. Kayla's sending out good vibes and best luck. Best of luck for people with finals and end of the year tests for sure. If you're in that world, if you're studying for finals and all that, oh, good luck. The time of year sucks. And if you are also if you're also in that world of grading, I know that our friend Vox, aka Christopher Maverick, is in that world. Good luck on all the grading and stuff like that. But we're gonna have fun next week, and it is gonna be our last stream of 2022. If you are a patron, keep an eye out for a link to a special stream hangout thing that should be happening tomorrow once I look at the calendar, because I guess I have a bunch of meetings tomorrow. But yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. It's going to be fun next week. I'm excited to see everyone there. Is everyone, Henry, are you seeing Avatar?
Yes, I'm in the middle of the James Cameron marathon I mentioned last week, but I'm seeing Avatar this weekend. I'm currently on Titanic.
Okay, so you're really getting into it.
Yeah,
you're going all the way.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I'm starting to see a lot of post-Abyss movies and how their responses to the Abyss and just ways Avatar fits more sensibly into his filmography than it may first appear.
Oh, amazing. I am not doing a heavy rewatch, but I have been listening to a lot of podcast content going through some of my favorite movies podcasts that are breaking down all the stuff. Oh, Dave Chongle dropping in. Thank you so much, Chongle. Dave Chongle, our favorite comedian. Dave Chongle did not bring out Elon Musk at the recent show. So that's what we really appreciate about the Chong. Yeah, I think I'm seeing Avatar today, but I might have to cancel because of the work and like meetings and all this sort of stuff. Boo.
You'll never want to come back.
I know I'll never want to come back. And shouts to anyone who's never seen the show How To with John Wilson. If they ever take How To with John Wilson off HBO Max, I will KMS. But if you have not seen How To with John Wilson, there's an episode where he meets with a group of people that have the, I don't want to say disorder, the condition, the experience of being unhappy when they are not in the world of Pandora.
Yeah, like the post-Avatar depression.
Yes, post-Avatar depression. So I will have seen it before next week, though, so we can chat about it a bit then. My list of movies I'm trying to knock out before next week is aggressive. I might have to be a little bit of a hermit to try to get those done. So, oh yeah, the big picture. I did listen to that oral history of James Cameron, and I really love that. If anyone wants to hear that, Maximilian just dropped this. It's a really cool feature they did on him there. I listened to the Unspooled, did an episode going through Avatar, which is okay. But I'll say this: I don't know if anyone listens to Unspooled with Amy Nicholson and Paul Scheer. Paul Scheer went on this rant about how like every movie that's about how ecological disaster and colonialism are bad is like stupid and obvious. And it really annoyed me because I just think if it was really that obvious that environmental collapse and colonialism were bad, maybe the world wouldn't be as bad. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Okay, any final questions or thoughts? We're going to start wrapping up. This is the time where you can also drop any what arias. This is our segment that Dude Abides invented. So anything you're watching, reading, listening to that you're liking, that you want to recommend, anything like that. I don't know if I have anything new this week. Henry, do you have any new what arias?
Yeah, since we're talking about HBO Max and the potential for stuff to
Mhm.
disappear off it and movies, Banshees of Inisherin is up
Oh,
on
is it
there
up
right
now?
now. Yeah. It came out on the 13th, so I'm going to take a
Easy.
break from the James Cameron at some point for it between now and next episode. But yeah, it's up there, folks. Go check it out.
I saw that movie over the weekend, and I went to one of the few theaters here still showing it because thought it'd be fun to see in the theater. Although I guess I should have waited. Great movie. Banshees of Inisherin is definitely, it's probably going to be in my top 5 movies of the year. I love that. I'll do another HBO Max recommendation. This stream is brought to you by HBO Max. Southside, I mentioned it before. If you like comedy, watch Southside. It is so funny. And especially there's some stuff in season 2. Season 3 just came out or is coming out. There's some stuff in season 2 where I was about to piss my pants. I was laughing so hard by myself. And I feel like that's always the sign. If you laugh by yourself, something is very funny because laughing is a social construct. Okay, I'm still looking right here in the chat. A lot of good recommendations are coming through. Ooh, Adam Curtis. The letter W. I'm trying to watch the new Adam Curtis very soon. So, man, we should talk Adam Curtis on the stream sometime. That would be really great.
Yeah.
So let's say this. Thank you. Ooh, Kayla's knitting hats and bucket hats. That sounds cool. Bucket hats, I think, are in because of Portia's character in the White Lotus season 2. And I did see someone bring up Atlanta.
Oh, did we want to talk TV?
I mean, we only got a few minutes left. Maybe we'll even do, maybe next week we'll do TV, or maybe we'll do TV of the year tomorrow on the Patreon stream.
Good call.
Ooh, I'll just say this. Ooh, Tony Lee's reading The Denial of Death by Becker. Such a good thing. HBO Min, says John. Atlanta is just so underrated. It's crazy that everyone freaked out about the first 2 seasons, and they dropped 2 good seasons this year that are good for different reasons. One of the best finale episodes ever, and people are just like, eh. So if you've not watched this year's 2 seasons of Atlanta, you're missing out. You're really missing out. And if you haven't liked the stream, like the stream on the way out too, because I'm a panderer, baby. I'm here to pander. So many good recommendations as well in the chat. So I think we're going to wrap it up here unless there's anything anyone else wants to get to. Yeah, White Lotus is also good. I feel like I don't need to recommend that because like everyone's watching it. White Lotus is good, and they stuck the landing. I feel like the hardest thing to do is land. So there you go. Let's see. No, the letter W said, can't get you out of my head as a year old. There's another one. There's a new Adam Curtis. A friend shared a link with me to it that exists on some sort of Google Drive. Let me see if I have the title and I could share it with y'all. Let's see. Oh my God, where is it? I'll look it up for next week. But he has a new thing. I think it's like a 12-hour movie that involves Russia somehow. So, and if you don't know Adam Curtis is, everyone, two pieces of homework. If you have never watched Too Many Cooks, when this stream ends, go watch Too Many Cooks. Just type in Too Many Cooks on YouTube and watch it. Your next homework, learn about Adam Curtis and start watching some of his documentaries. Thornback, you're totally right about Mike White. I learned this week that Mike White also wrote and directed Orange County, one of my favorite movies ever from my younger years. Again, final thanks. Thank you for subscribing to the channel and joining the channel as a member. Thank you for joining Patreon. You can check that out if you want. It means a lot to us. If you do, like the stream if you haven't already. Helps us out a lot. All of these shows go VOD. We're going to start making them easier to find. So, be on the lookout for those. And if you ever have thoughts afterwards, you can leave comments on the VOD. I check those out. Follow Wisecrack on Twitter now that I'm behind it. And I think if you look at Wisecrack's Twitter over the past 5 days, the energy's gotten more chaotic. So I guess you're welcome or I'm sorry, depending on your perspective there. But as always, thank you so much for hanging out. We like you guys a lot. Patreon stream, I think, is going to be tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific, same time as this, but I got to check because during this stream, one of my colleagues scheduled some meetings. But yeah, I guess we're going to go.
Yeah.
I guess we're going to go. And I think we have Logical Larynx and or Mellow Jello still Lords of the Chat, I think. So yeah, last thing we do is always, everyone thank Henry in the chat for producing this and making it all happen, along with providing really good insight. We'll be back next week, last stream of 2022. Everyone be there. This is Wisecrack Live, this Thursday, December 15th, the year of our God or lack thereof, 2022. Signing off.
Thanks, y'all. See you next week for some movie talk.